All right, hello YouTube. We should be live. And you guys may be wondering, why such an early stream? Usually I stream like 4 hours later than this. And one, that's because I wanted to give you guys a stream today because I was not going to be able to do a stream if I did it later. And also, I'm not actually going to be able to give you guys a stream Friday either because I am scheduled to work Friday night. So, I wanted to give you guys at least one stream this week. The videos will come out as normal, so you'll have Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But yeah, I just figured I would get a live stream in this week instead of just completely missing for a week. And then, yeah. Hi, Jesse. Yes, odd time for a live stream. And hi, Metal as well. But yeah, this is going to be the highlight of my day because later today, me and my two friends that have been watching the series of Game of Thrones are going to be finishing the series. So, yeah. Hi, Evie. How are you? Hi, Young Wolf. No worries. I don't know how long of a stream this is going to be. I do have to stop streaming about 4:30 at the latest. So we'll see how long this stream is. Good timing. I'm chilling in the parking lot before class. Ooh, rip. What class you going to, Metal? But how are you guys today? How are you guys on this fine, I guess, afternoon, I guess you would say? Depending on where you are, that would be different. But you know, okay, so what are we going to do in this stream? Well, let's figure it out. So, we got, is this the winner's bracket? So, we got a bit of the winner's bracket, or no, the loser's bracket, Yeah, so we got to do the loser's bracket a little bit in this stream. Try to get through that, and then the next stream will probably be the winner's bracket, which will be for the top, I think 8 or something like that. But, yeah. So, we'll start off. I don't know how many people we're gonna have in the stream since it's such a weird timing stream, and I didn't really make an announcement for it. So I don't know how much we'll actually get into this poll. If there's not a ton of people in here, we might just chat for a little while. But you know. So we've got Jojen Paste, which I feel like I've explained so many times now that I feel like if you guys want me to explain it, I'll explain it. But more or less, Jojen gets put into a paste that Bran eats in Dance Dragons. And then we have Tyrion was the real target at the Purple Wedding. Again, it still says Red Wedding, but it's okay. I'm just going to put Tyrion. You guys know what I mean. And this is kind of the idea that I think if you're going to go off of this idea, you have to say that Tyrion's pie was poisoned. I don't think you can go off of it because the wine obviously that Joffrey drinks, right? It wouldn't have been it would have been his. It had to have been his or in his cup. So I think the only way you go with this is that maybe it was, or no, I'm sorry, that the pie, right, that he eats is Tyrion's. So you think maybe it was that, but I don't know. I personally don't think it's correct. I think Jojen Pace is much more likely. Indoor air quality starts in an hour and 15 minutes. I have time to kill. Why did you get to class so early, Metal? Are you in between classes? I know when I had my first semester, so that was quite a while ago, but when I had my first semester, all of my classes were very much I had an hour in between every class. So I would go to class at 8 a.m. I would have it till 9:15. My next class wouldn't start till 10. And then from 10 to I think it was 11 maybe, I had class, and then after that I had another 2-hour break, and then I went to my English class for about an hour and 15 minutes. I had another 2-hour break, and then I had my final class, and it went till 5:15. So I had an 8 to 5 school schedule. It was terrible. I'm good. I've been playing the new Pokemon games. I'm enjoying them. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I saw those come out. I don't really know what they're about or anything, but I've seen those out. Again, I'm just not someone that really is into Pokemon past Gen 5, so I haven't really played any of the newer games. I will say I have been playing Pokemon Diamond on an emulator lately. I've been beating the game, pretty much doing a randomizer. I really love randomizers. Randomizers are so fun. But yeah, I've been doing an emulator. I've been thinking about when we do discussion streams, right, that I should do some Pokemon in the background while we're just kind of discussing things or doing a poll. I don't know how I feel about that yet, because I've trying mixing those in the past with gaming and then also doing commentary. I feel like that would be only a live stream thing. Maybe it's if we're say discussing the bracket, right? and I explained it to you guys, but like I don't need to have the bracket on the whole time. You know, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that yet. To beat traffic, it gets fair enough. Fair enough. I could see that. What's your major? Mine? Well, okay. So mine was computer science, and then I didn't really like it as I went further into it. And for computer science, for anybody that doesn't know, you have to take a lot of math and science classes. And the further I got into math, I realized I was really bad at it. And like, okay, math for like algebra, I'm really good with. I'm really good with like just regular like algebra, college algebra, even trig. But once you get into like calc, it's just I am someone that like I have to see a reason for why I'm doing something. And calc, I'm just like, calc to me is the most useless skill to learn that takes a ton of time to actually get good at, in my opinion. But so I moved from computer science to mass communications. So it's something I'm kind of like already kind of like decent at because again, I already do digital media, and I'm just kind of much more familiar with it. So I don't know. I decided to go into that, and I've liked it so far. So I don't know. I've heard the newest games are super glitchy. I don't know. I haven't heard much about them. I just am not as interested in them. They just don't appeal to me as much. And maybe that's because the older Pokemon games I just have nostalgia for. Because again, I got my first real like gaming console, I guess, was Nintendo DS, and the first game I got with it was Pokemon Pearl. So that's like Generation 4. And I went back after that and just played all of the games before, so. This is a tough one. I like both theories. I do like both of these theories. I think one's a little bit more true than the other, but I think are both very intriguing. I've done a video on both of these. They're very entertaining videos to record. I'm the same way with learning. It helps so much to have a tangible reason behind what you're trying to figure out. Agreed. That's my thing is like, I take classes so much more serious when I feel like they have a benefit to my life, right? Like, so for instance, history classes. I always do well in history classes. Because one, I'm super interested in history because I think history is a very important subject to learn about where, say, my country or the world as a whole has developed and to not like devolve into what we did in the past. So, for instance, like things like the lead up of World War II, the finish of World War One, the Civil War, I think are all very fun topics to explore. Now, they weren't like fun for people to live them, but it's interesting to explore the reasoning behind how a whole population got behind Hitler, for instance, or how this or that happened that created something else in the future, right? If you go back to the Napoleonic Wars and how they impacted World War One and how that eventually kind of formed. It's interesting to like look at that, and I think history is one of those subjects that I always do really well in because I'm very entertained to learn about it, and two, I think it's important. So, math to me was something that I felt the same about. Math, I was like, when I was younger, and even now, like I was like, algebra is pretty important to learn. No, like being able to fundamentally do basic math, I think is very important, and it can be very useful. But as you get into stuff where it's like this just doesn't seem like it's useful at all. Like it's where it makes it's very hard for me to concentrate on those things and to put a lot of extra effort into it, I guess. You should play Hollow Knight. What is Hollow Knight, Young Wolf? Diamond Gang? Yes, Diamond is great. I like Platinum better than both in Diamond and Pearl, but I do love Diamond and Pearl as well. As they were like my first games for Pokemon. Yeah, history is best. Yeah, history is good. I wish I was better at art. I won't lie. I wish I was way better at art. Art is something that I've always kind of struggled with, where I wish I was better at it, and I try to put effort into art. I'm just not good at it. I can do digital art decently well, but even with like digital art, like thumbnails, I don't like making thumbnails. I've talked about this before. Thumbnails are one of my least favorite things about making videos. Like editing, fine. Record. Okay, let me do like a tier list of things I like to do. So recording is fun just inherently because you're talking about something that you enjoy or you like to talk about. Um, and then I would say brainstorming, because there's like a whole process, right, to how I like think about doing videos and stuff like that. Um, and then so that would be like the second thing I like doing. Third is editing. So editing can kind of depend on the video. It depends on like if I liked the video, like if I actually enjoyed making it, then I'll enjoy rewatching it and like cutting it and stuff like that. But it can be very time consuming. And that's coming from my videos where I don't put a lot of second hand material. And that's just because a lot of the times there just isn't great images to use, in my opinion. But like for editing for people that are very advanced, it can be rough. Hi Huxler, how are you? But thumbnails to me is the hardest part, and because I always struggle with, and I want to take classes on digital design, I can not for the life of me figure out how to make text look good over images. I've gotten better as I've made YouTube content, because for a lot of people, right, you won't know that I've done YouTube for close to 2.5 years now. This channel has been like a year and like a couple months, like a year and like 2 months. But I had a YouTube/Twitch channel that was a gaming only thing for a year and a half. And yeah, so I gained some things from that channel. And that was more about like video quality, audio quality, things like that. But that channel never really did that well. I'm a programmer, and this is my thing, Starman, right? Where I was going into a field in computer science where I had all of these requirements that I had to take for my college that didn't seem like that helped my major at all. Like, do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, why am I taking a bunch of math classes for things that don't require a lot of math, in my opinion, from what I know? Also, the two theories we have right now, Benjin is cold hands. This is the idea that Benjin does not come back and that he turned into cold hands. This theory, I think, I wouldn't say it was popularized by the show, but it's the most popular theory on the cold hands idea. So it's that, or will Euron summon Krakens? Basically, he's doing a massive blood sacrifice. Will that happen? It's an indie platformer. I hate recording myself. Fair enough. Really, Young Wolf, I'm interested to see why you don't like recording, because I think recording to me is okay. So I didn't even say live streaming, right? But recording to me is good because you can say something right and phrase it weirdly and then go, wait, that didn't really sound right. Go back and do it again. Like, there are a lot of times in videos where sometimes you probably guys don't even realize it, but there are times when I'll be saying a sentence and I kind of like just say it weirdly, and I'll do a cut, but I'll try to cut it right when I start saying like how I re-say it so that it kind of sounds like nothing happened. Like, if you look at my webcam, for instance, when I talk, you'll probably see it. Whereas like live streams, for instance, like if I say something stupid, I can't really like it just comes off as stupid. Like, you know, I don't know. I'm not a platformer type of person, but I have really heard good things on it. Okay. My husband is a programmer, also Starman. That's cool. Debunked, yes. I really hope we get to see Krakens in wins. I hope so too as well. Impressive that Benjamin made it this far. Yeah, I know. This is what I think is hilarious, Dogman, is that there's certain theories that are on this list that I just put on here because they're popularized theories that are just very popular. When in reality, George has either said, yeah, this probably isn't going to happen, or it just isn't true. Were Krakens foreshadowed in the earlier books? Or I think it's more of a newer idea, Ander, because of the chapter we get from like Euron, or not Euron, but it's Dampier, but the chapter involving Euron that's been a sample chapter from Winds of Winter. I think that's where the theory has very much been popularized from. Yeah, that makes sense, Young Wolf, but it's just like, I don't know. I don't like that idea. Yeah, that's the whole thing, Metal, is Cold Hands died a long time ago, and Benjin hasn't really died that long ago, if you would say he died. Like, at this point, he's died, what, a couple years? That's not one of the things. And I'm also with you that I think he is one of the Raven's Teeth, like, members with Brendan Rivers. He's probably one of the people that came with him. That is, I think, the best theory. We just don't know. I don't think there's one character you can really point to. Like quantum computing? Okay, makes sense, Young Wolf. Makes sense. I just hate that. I could not stand it because I felt like I was taking a math class every single semester. But, yeah. But how are you guys doing? How are you guys going to be celebrating Thanksgiving if you do celebrate Thanksgiving? That's one of the other reasons why I wanted to do the stream earlier in the week. Or, well, it was going to be on Monday anyway. I was going to do it on Wednesday, but the problem with doing it on Wednesday was going to be I really couldn't because my family's hosting Thanksgiving, so I was going to have to help around the house. I was going to have to help make food and stuff. So it was going to be hard to do a stream on Wednesday. So I don't know. It's been foreshadowed in Dance Dragons and Makoro. I don't think it's mentioned in... Yeah, that's my thing, Andrew. I think it's definitely a later on in the books. Because we really don't even get a lot of the Greyjoys in general. Outside of, like, Theon. In the first 3 to 4 books. So, I don't know. Well, that's not true. Because Feast for Crows, you get a lot of the Greyjoy stuff. But really the first 3 books. I'm going to have to go any minute. Well, Young Wolf, thank you for stopping in as always. Good luck with what you have to do. Benjen is likely just dead. I kind of agree. I think Benjen's just dead. But who knows? Dinner with my parents. I'm making white chocolate bread pudding. Ooh, that sounds good, Metal. That sounds good. I cannot cook at all. Cannot cook at all. The best I've ever cooked was I did a chili with my dad. And it was one of those things where my friend group, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but my friend group is very much not a bean chili type of people. So we did like an extra kind of meat chili. So it wasn't like a traditional chili. It was like a lot extra ground beef. And then with some chili in it, like chili beans and stuff like that. And like tomatoes, onions. Came out pretty good and I was pretty proud of it. But I'm not a good cook or baker really. BGJ, really nice that you're streaming at 10 p.m. European time instead of 1 a.m. I'm glad that fits your schedule better, Casper. I don't know if these will be regular. I would probably lean towards not because I'm probably going to have class. I'm just on Thanksgiving break right now for a week, so I can do a stream earlier like this. But I wonder if this Euron was supposed to be like this or is it a change he made after the 5-year gap? That's a good question. I think it was probably supposed to be... It was probably a change, probably. I would assume it was a change, Ander. I don't think we'll ever know for sure, though. Benjen is going to stay a major... I think that would make sense, Young Wolf. It's one of those things that maybe we don't find out. Chili is beans, my guy. So, no, Casper. Let me rephrase this. I think chili is definitely with meat as well. I agree with you. But when I'm saying this is a chili that is like heavily meat, I'm like saying we like reduced the beans a lot and added a lot more meat. Put it that way. You know? Am I dreaming? Are you really live right now? I am live, Water. I am live. I think the other mods are sleeping or working. Probably. It's weird because Matthew's always in my streams. He's probably at work or something. Benjen is Dario. There's so many like people that like there's so many theories on who Dario is. And I'm interested to see if we'll ever get anything out of it. I normally would be working, but I took the week off. Love to see that, Water. Love to see that. My dad usually used to do that for Christmas, like the week after Christmas. He would have the entire week off, which was always nice. Especially when I was younger, but I don't know if he's going to do that this year. I don't think he's probably going to, but yeah. So the Kraken summon theory moves on. I like that. So now we're going to have Euron Dragonbinder theory. So this is the idea that Victarion or someone is going to blow the horn to try and steal one of Daenerys' dragons. And instead, Euron is going to be the quote-unquote master of the horn, and it'll go to Euron, more or less. We also have the Doom of Valyria, which is the idea that the Faceless Men created the Doom of Valyria, kind of taking out the... what do you call them? Sorcerers, basically, keeping the volcanoes in check. I always struggle with spelling Valyria. I know I did the Doom of Valyria video and I spelled it wrong in the thumbnail and I got crucified for it, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah. Genghis Zed. I have never seen that. Are they on YouTube, Jesse? I have never seen that person ever. Water, when I go take the full brunt... What? Oh, when I go take the full brunt of modding. Oh, okay. I like the idea. I mean, timeline-wise, it does... Yeah. I'm doing my best. I'm trying to clean my room at the moment. I gotta clean my room. You guys see, here's the thing. What was nice about my old setup... Let me go to my actual face cam. When I had my old, like, setup... Right? You guys never saw when my bed was a mess. My bed is always a mess now. Because for well, okay. Hold on. Ugh. Always mess up my ring light when I move my foot because it has a loose wire under my desk. So let's put this in perspective here. All right. Before, you guys never saw this side of my room. You always saw the wall I'm looking at right now. Okay? And now you guys get to see a full visual of my bed. Now, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. You guys might be thinking, oh, you didn't make your bed. Well, here's the thing. My bed is literally two blankets. I don't use... This used to be my old, like, thing you put over it. I have a bunch of sheets and, like, another, like, bed cover I don't even use. So it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay? Don't give me... Oh... That's the book reading screen. You guys got a little bit of a sneak peek, to the for the book reading on Tuesday. It was a shorter one. It was shorter, and I'm just saying. Surprisingly, Catelyn was very smart in that chapter, or not surprisingly, but she has a pretty smart introduction. I feel like. On Reddit. Okay, that makes sense. I don't really go on Reddit too much. If you guys want me to be honest, I really don't. Let's see. What is Gmail sending me? Oh, never mind. We don't care. But. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. But I will say, guys, I am looking forward to Thanksgiving. I had, like, a quote-unquote Thanksgiving with some of my friends, like Friendsgiving, on Saturday. And it was nice. We had some, like, Thanksgiving food and such. No turkey, though. And I'm looking forward to a turkey, lads. I'm really looking forward to a good turkey on Thursday and all that. I'm kind of interested to see. So, what are we gonna be hitting in this stream? We got the Sons of the Harpy. Okay, all right. We got some interesting ones here. We'll see if Lemongate will move on. Okay, all right. Got some interesting ones to do. Catelyn is a top 5 character. I won't say Catelyn's a top 5 character. She is a. Let me think. Let me think where I would rank Catelyn as a POV because she's very high for POVs for me. I would say my favorite POV. I don't want to go favorites because favorites is different. So top POVs, I would probably say is Tyrion, Jon, Arya. I might throw Catelyn in as like the fourth best POV. She has some of the best chapters in the entire story. I don't know. Catelyn is an interesting. She's a very intriguing character. She's a character that thinks on her emotion, and I mentioned this a lot in the book reading. She's a character that, when she is in a very stress-free environment where there's not a lot of stress going on, she can be calm. She makes good decisions, but when she's in decisions where her emotion can take over, she makes such bad decisions. She is someone that is bad under pressure. Sir Barristan. See, Sir Barristan and Theon are very good POVs, but they are not like they don't have a lot of chapters, right? So like to put them up as one of the best of the series, I go off of like how many chapters do you have? What is your impact to the story? Do you have good quality chapters when we get you? It's something where it's like Daenerys has a ton of chapters, but some of hers, like especially book 2, are really lackluster in my opinion. Like I'm gonna talk about this when we get to Dany 1 for next week. I think Dany has a pretty good book 1, and she has a good book 3, but book 2 and book 5, like they have their highs, they have their lows. But yeah. Turkey is a bit overrated. Water. What are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? Well, okay. Let's put it this way. I only have turkey, like an actual cooked turkey, maybe like once or twice a year. So, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I don't have it a lot. Euron just say trash. Never trust a word from it. That is correct. You do not. We don't trust good old Euron. She's a huge cat. Oh, water. That's not what you like to see. That's not what you like to see. Oh, Jamie. I forgot about Jamie. Thank you, Evie, for bringing that up. Yeah, Jamie's another really good one. Man, Ella, you need to warm us about your lives. To my knowledge, I know. Hugo. So this was a very last minute thing. Okay? Because I was thinking I wasn't even going to do a stream today. I was going to be like, can't do a stream because I can't do a stream later, right? I can only do something with my friend today, and it's literally the time we stream. So if I was going to stream, it would have been like 9 tonight. So that'd be like 2-hour difference, like later on in the day than usual, or do it earlier before I end up going to do stuff. So I had to do it. I was going to do it earlier in the day. So yeah. But yeah, sorry about that. I would have sent it out a notice, but I wasn't sure if I was actually going to do one yet. True. I think Jamie has some amazing... Oh, yeah. So Jamie has a lot of good POVs as well. I forgot about him. Dany's best chapter is House of the Undying. Let me think about that. It's definitely one of her best. I like that chapter. The chapter with the dragons at the end of Game of Thrones when they are born is really good. I think one of the... I don't know exactly if it's one chapter or 2, but when she is planning to take Yunkai, I really love her plan and her thought process and the way she goes about doing that. I think it's some of the best character development for her and shows how she is a conqueror as well. So I really liked that chapter as well from A Storm of Swords. You should have a documentary about why Daenerys is so okay. I don't think Daenerys is the worst character. So Andrew, I couldn't really do that. Like the way I would do that video would be why I don't like Dany as much as other people. That's how I'd word that, because I don't hate Daenerys. I think she's a good character. I just don't like her compared to other characters, is because she is someone that feels very split from the story. She feels like she's a character that you have to establish for later on in the story. And that's how I put it. Like, Daenerys' best book should be when she comes to Westeros, whether that's Winds of Winter, which I kind of doubt. I think it's the end of Winds of Winter. I would say A Dream of Spring has to be her best book. Hi, Random Stuff. How are you? Best part of Dany's plot is when she said it's to... Oh, God. 1-on-1 with no dragons. Who wins a duel between Jon Snow and Daemon Targaryen? I think Daemon Targaryen wins that one. I think Daemon has way more experience. And I think he's a better fighter. Jon in the book is not as good of a fighter as he was in the show. So I would say Daemon. Sam, I was just like, let's see what's on YouTube. I have something on in the back while I clean my hair and see what... Yep. That's usually how it goes. Daenerys in the show is horrible. I once wrote an entire essay in Encore listing all the zillion times she was a morning. Yeah, in the show, she is not as good as she is in the books. The show, she is it's a couple things. It's a couple things. One, Amelia Clark struggles with doing other languages in the early seasons, and it's very apparent. And even some of Amelia Clark's acting was not great in those first few seasons. And again, I think Amelia Clark, as time went on, she got better and better with how to do Daenerys' character. Like she began to learn how to act with emotion and not just with words and stuff like that. We see that with when Daenerys turns and becomes the Mad Queen, whatever, right? That's very good facial acting. Like, don't even get us wrong. Like, that is very good facial acting. That's very good acting in general. It's the writing that hurt that moment, not Amelia Clark's acting. And her plot as a whole, in season 2, I think really makes her plot suffer, because a casual fan base is not going to hold on to Daenerys forever. And when you have Daenerys, think about Daenerys' season 2 arc compared to the rest of the story. In Westeros, you have Robb trying to avenge Ned and the whole Northern and the Riverlands plot, and you have Tyrion taking control of King's Landing and outwitting everyone. You have Stannis' camp trying to, take on everybody, basically. And you've got, the Shadow Babies. You've got Jon at the wall, or not, actually he's not at the wall, but he's out north, and all that comes with that. There's a lot of plots going on, and all of them are more interesting than Daenerys' plot in season 2. And then even when we get to the big moment of Daenerys' season 2 or book 2 plot, they don't even really give her all of the visions. Like, it is one of the better scenes of season 2, or I guess scenes back to back with the House of the Undying. But it's not as good in book 2. Like, it's not as good as book 2. But yeah. She has the worst fan base any fictional character has ever had. I don't know if I go that far, Ander, but maybe. King Daemon, not because he is better with sword, but he has more experience. Daemon in House of Dragon is like twice Johnny Boy's age. That's also true. Can't complain a bit of it. So I've also been, I don't know if it's like, I don't really know what it is, but I've also been kind of like off and on having like sinus issues. I don't know, random stuff. Maybe, I don't know. It is getting super cold where I live. Like, I live in Illinois, and again, it's the Midwest, so we have sporadic weather. But let me look up. Let me look on my phone. What is the weather for today? I know yesterday it was like our all-time low for the year so far. It's actually not too bad today. It's actually like mid 50s, gonna be in the 40s in like an hour or two. So it's actually pretty nice compared to what it's been in the last few days. Daemon jumping on Vhagar is gonna be sick. Yeah, it's gonna be a really awesome scene if they do that properly. Book John can hang with Mance Rayder. I mean Arthur. God, if that is Arthur Dayne, then yes, that actually is really awesome. Show John almost got beaten by a guy armed with only 2 knives at one point, and he was facing off against a fucking legend of Jin Alley. I always loved that. I always loved that actor, just like, I'm a fucking legend. It's so good. She forced Izzar to marry her, although she tormented and bullied the whole time for no reason. Yeah, so that's the thing. In the books, it's much different. In the books, it's like Izzar is constantly like, we should get together, and if I have some, peace for a while, you should marry me and all that. But yeah, it's much different in the book. Agreed, Starman. Agreed. I kind of agree with you on this, Ander. I think Amelia Clark after season 1, because season 1, there's not really a lot she has to do. It's just be kind of timid, and towards the end and season 2, she comes into her own, right? And I think Amelia Clark kind of struggled with that, and I think Amelia Clark struggled with trying to say any type of Dothraki or Valyrian. I agree. She grew a lot as an actress, but her performance in the first few seasons was... Yeah, I agree. Maz. Or Metal. Very possible, Water. The dry air has been killing me. Yeah, it's been a bit rough for me. I won't lie. Book John being severely under... Okay, Kong. Okay, so I had Jon Snow in my top 10 like best fighters in A Song of Ice and Fire, the main book series, and I got hate for it. So take that as you will, Kong. I would still say like he's in bottom, like around the bottom 10 in Westeros, but I don't think he's beating Daemon. I just don't. Um, Honestly, I didn't like Valerian to begin with. Dothraki was okay. All right, I can see that. Yes, and actually made it to a live stream and didn't get. YouTube just does that, man. It just does that sometimes. I don't know. I don't get it. Like sometimes I don't get the notifications either, and it's literally like, did I get the live stream for this or the notifications for this live stream? Yeah, I got it for this one, but sometimes it doesn't send out the 30 minutes. Like when I'm gonna go live in 30 minutes, it doesn't send that one out. Don't get it, but I don't know. I'm glad you can make it though, Larry. So we're gonna go with the Doom of Valyria. The Euron Dragonbinder theory is not going to make it any further. Moving on, we have the Green Grace is the Sons of Harpy leader. I've done a video on this one if you guys want to check that one out at some point. I think just based upon the way the Green Grace treats Dany and the way certain things have happened with her storyline, I think this makes a lot of sense. And the way like the Green Grace is kind of supporting his daughter for being in control and all these things, I think it kind of makes sense. And then we have the Hooded Man theory. So again, there's a ton of them. Who is the Hooded Man? I think it's probably just Theon, like just seeing shit. But there are a lot of theories associated with this one. I personally think it is probably just Theon. But it's Theon probably seeing either himself or it's seeing just some other shit. That is an amazing scene, by the way, with you guys talking about Aegon and Harrenhal. That's a good one. Let me think about what would my favorite moments of Fire and Blood be. I think one of my favorite scenes from Fire and Blood that they did poorly is I like everything surrounding the Green Council. Even though I'm a Rhaenyra supporter, I think it's very intriguing. And I wish they would have done it better on the show. And it's reason why I hated episode 9 so much, because it's not at all what it's kind of made out to be in Fire and Blood. And I don't know. So that would be one of my favorite moments. Another one of my favorite moments would probably be the Field of Fire. That would have been really cool to see on screen with Aegon and his sisters. That would be really cool. What's another one? What would be another good moment of Fire and Blood? There's one I would say, but I don't really want to spoil. I mean, we're already kind of spoiling House of the Dragon, but I guess how Aegon II's death comes about. I'm interested to see how they'll do that with House of the Dragon, but Robert Glover. Okay, I can see that. What's your evidence for why it would be Glover, Jesse? Yes, Metal. That is it. No, that is something my friend taught me. He was like, you should try and learn High Valyrian on a stream for like whatever. And I was like, dude, I can't. I just can't understand language. Like I just couldn't. I maybe if I like put a lot of time into it, maybe, but I'd be worse than Emilia Clarke. I definitely agree with you on that, Starman. The Green Council was supposed to be the best episode. All they had to do was follow the books. But I agree, Ander. I 100% agree. The Green Council should have been the best episode of the season. And it was my least favorite episode of the entire season. Like that, it's really unfortunate. Yeah, I don't like that they make Alicent be reluctant. Them leaving Viserys dying as long as possible is so interesting. Agreed. That would be an interesting twist, Metal. Kong, I think John's a good fighter. I just don't think he's anything crazy. I love how Visenya wins the veil. Agreed. That's a good one. Where do you think they'll end the show? I'm guessing probably coronation of Aegon III, but IDK. So I think that's probably a good place for them to end it. I think like the way they end it is Aegon II. It appears as though he's won, and then he ends up dying because he's an idiot. Yeah, let's just put it that way. He's an idiot, and Aegon III gets crowned, and that's kind of where they end it. I think that's a good spot because it would show how the two sides have come together. It establishes where the Targaryens are going to go from here, and that's a good place to end it, really. Because he didn't know Theon was still alive, as he wasn't at Mokailin or Barrow Terra, and he would have known of one of the Miller's songs being Theon since he had talked to Wex. Okay, I can see that then, Jesse. That's a good theory. Loved close to the end when they tried to arrest Viserys II's wife. Yeah, that's a good one. A good one. In my opinion, House of the Dragon season 1 is about. I kind of agree with you, Ander. I think it's around like season 5, season 6 territory where they are still. Let me go to season 5, Ander. Let me go to season 5. I would say it's closer to season 5 than season 6. Season 5 was loosely following the book, and they were still doing a lot of the major book things, but they were changing the circumstances in which it happens, or they were changing why it happens, right? Think about Jon's death. Jon's death is quite different in the books, and also, like, his last words, again, are different. In the show, it's Ollie. In the book, it's Ghost, leading a lot of people, and myself, to believe that Ghost is going to be involved in Jon's resurrection. Everything surrounding certain plots like that are significantly different. Dany and how she, I guess, trains Drogon's much different. Where Daenerys in the book, it's a struggle. Whereas in the show, it's kind of like she just gets on his back and they just fly away. If you compare that then to House of the Dragon, Fire and Blood presents Daemon as a very morally complex character, and we don't know how much he is involved with certain actions, right? Like, we don't know if he was involved in the deaths of the Strongs. We don't know if he was involved with Laenar's death. We don't know if he killed his wife. It's left very ambiguous for a reason, right? And House of the Dragon just paints Daemon as the worst scum on the planet. Like, he literally does every bad action possible. And when you look at other storylines like Rhaenys, the Rhaenys storyline for episode 9 was stupid. It didn't need to be there. It wasn't part of the source material. And I know someone maybe was like joking with me or something, but like I did a video where I was talking about Aemon, and it was like the real Aemon Targaryen, and they said, well, is House of the Dragon not really, is that really the main thing? And I want to say, like, no, it's not. Fire and Blood is the accounting of the Maesters. So yes, it is not the set in stone one, right? Don't worry, mods, I got you. Thank you, Larry, for the super chat or donate. I don't know if it's donation or super chat, but thank you for the love. I appreciate it, Larry. Appreciate all you guys as always. And thank you for coming into the stream as always. How do I hide user on this channel? Does that work? Okay, there we go. But yeah, thank you again, Larry. I appreciate that a lot. Where was I going? I lost my train of thought because I saw the super chat I want to respond to, and I also saw the bot. Oh yeah. So House of the Dragon, to me, it's loosely following the books, and the idea is that if the Maesters are recounting, and that is their accurate retelling of the story, how would Rhaenys nearly killing the Greens and killing a bunch of innocent people not be in it? It's like the whole idea that Tyrion wouldn't be in the retelling of A Song of Ice and Fire. Doesn't make any sense. Tyrion kills Tywin Lannister, apparently kills Joffrey the king. You wouldn't just leave all that out. That doesn't make any sense. Right? So, yeah, and you just look at House of the Dragon. It's done a lot of things that I'm just very... It just bothers me. Because I'm just like... Why are they doing things that just are just... They don't need to be here. Like a whole scene of Daemon having plot armor and just making the War of the Stepstones look silly. Episode 4. Why? Why is this here? I don't know. Starman, I would let Visenya ruin me. Oh, God. We've talked about this before, but I'm more of a Rhaenys guy, I won't lie. That is a good point, Kong, about Jon's skill. Honestly, I think it's quite interesting how both Robert and Viserys kind of share a lot of similarities. Civil War after their deaths, people reigns, and yeah, so that is the big similarity between the two. I've always kind of described Viserys as like Robert, except Robert is more focused on he would like a war to start. Viserys is trying to avoid a war at all times, right? Where Viserys, even with his best efforts, fails. Robert just doesn't care. Robert's someone that just does not care about ruling. He does not care about the realms if they burn. Like he would probably love a war to happen. House of Dragon Season 1 is hard carried by Patty. I agree. I mean, okay, I agree to an extent. I think the acting in the show is very good, but Patty is the best written character throughout. Season 5 did a lot of bad things, and that's why I'm rewriting it. I think the rewrite will probably be out next week. I've been kind of writing it a little bit and trying to focus heavily on it, but yeah, it'll probably be out next week. I agree, random stuff. Yes, Sansa and Stannis, the whole North, I think, got ruined in Season 5. I think Jon's was fine, but... Oh, no, okay, Kong. It would not be a beatdown, but I think Daemon would eventually win, yeah. Yes, not the bots again. Yeah, the bots, they love doing their thing. If it's really going to be like 2 years between seasons, hopefully George R. R. Martin will have released... Maybe water. Maybe. I doubt it, though. I doubt it. I think so, Starman, but my thing is, why did you need that? Right? Why did you need that? You did not need it, right? It's like... I don't know. You didn't need it. You were building up to this the entire season, right? It's like if the Red Wedding, right, was out of nowhere. Like, let's say there was no build up to it all. Rob's campaign was going great. He still had his entire army. We saw nobody kind of causing dissent in his camp. He was still doing great. And then for some reason he goes to the phrase and they just kill him. And that's how it ends. That would not feel earned. It would feel stupid. And people would have a problem with it. Right? That is how it feels. And just logically, it doesn't make any sense. There's been an episode in House of the Dragon as good as Hard Home, and I hate Season 5. I mean, that's a good point. Hard Home is a very good episode. Season 5 is such a weird season because they do certain things well. Like Hard Home, it's hinted at in the books, but we're not there. We're not at Hard Home. And they adapted that really well. And they expanded upon it, and it made it a really awesome episode. And that's what I was thinking about making a video is, are D&D bad writers? Or people that are good at adapting? Or did they just stop caring about Game of Thrones? Because I think if D&D really put their heads together and wanted to make something that was good and finish out the series strong and didn't get like series fatigue, I think they could have. I think they were looking to other shows, like we know. They didn't really care about the series anymore. And remember, they basically said they took the series because of the Red Wedding moment. So once they stopped, getting about the Red Wedding stuff, I don't think they cared anymore. If Stannis dies, we riot. Kong, you might not be happy. Agreed, Starman. And this is my thing, is when they implement stupid shit into the show, but then they refuse to do other things and stuff that are really cool that they could have spent time on. What was the point? Like, why do we get a Rainy scene with her massacring people, but we can't get Viserys and Alicent's wedding? We can't get Rhaenyra and Alicent having a conversation about why Alicent went behind her back and married her dad. We can't get good development scenes for Rhaenys because of stupid shit they add later on. Like, that's my problem. I don't know. And this goes even to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is the exact same thing. But D&D just stopped caring for sure. Yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah, they lost in. Yeah, I agree. You guys are kind of saying what I was saying, but yeah, I agree. They did some great scenes and dialogue. It's a shame it had such a bad end. Maybe it was a way to get back at George R. R. Martin for not finishing the source material and leaving them without training wheels. Maybe metal. Maybe. I mean, the thing is, it's like it's tough. It's tough because it's like D&D. The whole idea here is, could you have fit this series into 8 seasons? No. There's no way. I've already explained to you guys, like, we're not even done with Feast for Crows and Dance Dragons and my rewrite, really. And we're going to be going into Season 6. And Season 6 is going to conclude those books. And we're not even going to get into, like, the beginning of Winds of Winter. Like, maybe we'll have, like, one plot line that goes a little further into Winds of Winter. And that's it. There is no way you can finish this story in 8 seasons. The books itself are going to take 7 books. If not more. What if you split Winds, then it'd be 8. I don't know. Hi, Citro. How are you? And the stream's going pretty good. We had to do an early one because I won't be able to stream later tonight. And I won't be able to actually really stream kind of the rest of the week, really. So, yeah. Just because of holiday stuff and all that. He does play a big role. Even the Sand Snakes talk about it. Yeah, agreed. Christian Cole, 150 years later. Yeah, Starman, yeah. He had a very big impact. They should have ended the show with the end of Dance as a cliffhanger after the battles of ice and fire. They could, I mean, if they really wanted to stick it to George, this is what they should have done. Right? They should have just been like, all right, after season 4, where the show has kind of hit its pinnacle, right, of popularity, they're like, George, we're not writing any more seasons until you complete the book. But they were never going to do that. HBO was making so much money from Game of Thrones. It was making George R. R. Martin so much money. It was making D&D so much money. It was gaining them fame, popularity. That was never going to happen. It's just not logical. Them not carrying is the worst possible option, though. They helped create such an amazing show, and they just threw it all. I agree. I mean, Water, that's the problem, is that D&D, I don't think, cared to the levels of, like, anyone in here, of the actual story of A Song of Ice and Fire. What they cared about is they saw what the Red Wedding was, and they saw how amazing that event is, and how everything builds towards that moment, and the story to that moment, and then the after effects to that moment. And that's why they took the project. It's not because they loved The Song of Ice and Fire. It's not because they loved this character, that character. It's because they saw the potential of what that could be, and they were right. 10 seasons of 10 episodes would have been ideal. Agreed. I agree, Starman. I think Rhaenys was the best possible candidate at the time. Agreed, Water. Agreed. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on. So Green Grace won. Don't feel like that's an incredible surprise, but it is interesting. All right, so we have Lemongate and all of the Quaithe theories. Is Quaithe Shiera Seastar? Is Dany, was she kind of brought up in Dorne? Who knows? That's what these theories are pretty much based upon. I really don't feel any type of way towards either one of these theories, if you guys want me to be honest. But I don't know. And by the way, so this is I think is really funny. So my friends have not liked Daenerys since like season 2. Or not, end of season 1, when the Dothraki like stopped being like prevalent in Daenerys' story, like when I can't like talk. When Khal Drogo dies, they kind of lost interest in Daenerys' story, and they haven't really liked Daenerys since. And they were always, every season, so bored of Daenerys' story or whatever, until like, you know, when it actually gets good when she comes to Westeros. And when she turned Mad Queen, my friends were like, see, this is why we didn't like her for like 7 seasons. And I'm like, hey man, I mean, that's just how it is. But I just think it's hilarious. So yeah, I'm watching the finale tonight. This is the second time I've watched the finale. The last time I was screaming at my television. So yeah, it's not gonna be great. I think I'm gonna have them on for either a video or a stream, because I want to get someone's reaction to Game of Thrones when they haven't read the books. They've watched it all as one like continuous show. They hadn't had to wait years in between each season. And see what their thoughts are. Like, they don't know an alternate timeline of way these events happened that could have been better. So I'm interested to see what their reactions are. They already don't like season 8, but I'm interested to see, like, compared to like a community like me or you guys, what their thoughts would be differently. Ryan Connell's a bigger song fighter, but he's an awful. I kind of agree. I agree. I agree and I disagree, because like he is good at writing some things, but other things he's just not great at. And I think that's the issue now, is like we have someone that cares a lot about it, but someone that just I don't think has the skill of writing as D&D at their full potential, if that makes sense. Imagine gaining 500 million subs and averaging 250 million views per video and becoming a reaction channel. Yeah, that's more or less what Game of Thrones kind of devolved into. Because you would think, right? Logically, let's just do this logically. If this happened to me, for instance, right? If this happened to me, what would happen is I would be getting an editor, getting someone to make my thumbnails so that the videos could be at their top like quality. Getting a new mic, after reaching this would be improving more, not getting complacent, which is kind of what D&D did. I mean, yes, in the show canon, they were definitely right. D&D, yes, I agree. Sideshow. I agree. I think D&D actually would have done a very good job with House of the Dragon, but it's very unfortunate that they kind of went down that road. That would be very interesting, Kong. This is a really cool idea that I think that one day, what if they did remake GOT as an animation? Dude, I would be so drunk if I did that, Starman. And also, I don't drink anymore. I've explained this, so I get so tired of explaining this to people, because people so I'll be like, yeah, I don't drink anymore or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, why not? And I'm just like, I just don't like the feeling of getting drunk. I get very tired, and when I get tired, I get very moody, and also when I was younger, didn't take good care of my teeth, so drinking really bothers my teeth the day after. So, not a big drinker, I will say. Do you have an alternate Lemongate theory? My theory is that the Sea Lord of Braavos was housing Dany. There was a lemon tree there with him. It's almost like confirmation, because we see that the pact that was signed with having Viserys eventually marry Arianne and uniting the two houses, was a viewer of that, like a spectator. The Sea Lord of Braavos signs that, which would imply that they did it in Braavos. So I think it's more or less that idea. I agree. Like, there was no way season 8 should have been 6 episodes. It's just too rushed. Like, it's too rushed, but then they have filler. It's such a weird thing. Oh yeah, same drunk for me is just passed out after 30 minutes. Yeah, fair enough. I can see that, Hugo. Alcohol is a drug. That is correct. Alcohol is basically poison you put in your body, more or less. Good for you. I've been trying to cut back on drinking myself. Well, good luck with you on that, Metal. It's not very hard for me just because even when I did drink, I only drank, like, socially. So, like, if my friends were having... I wouldn't even call it a party, because, like, a party you would assume was, like, you know, a bigger thing. It'd be, like, just a hangout of, like, 15, 20 people. I would kind of drink then. But even then, it was like, that'd be like once a month. So I was already not a big drinker, and I never drank until I was 21. I know, very shocking. So in America, for you guys that aren't in America, our law is you can't drink until you're 21. So I waited till I was 21 to actually drink. I'd never drank before then. And then I was like, man, this is kind of overrated. And then I didn't really drink much. But I will say wine is pretty good. Wine is it just messes with my teeth, though. A sober man with one of the most consistently drunk acting chats. It's the dynamic we have. Yeah, that's what I assume too. Yeah. I just think it makes logical sense. Like, I don't think they would take Daenerys to Dorne. That just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. Especially when you have Jon Arryn goes to Dorne after everything that happens. Like, you wouldn't hide Daenerys in Dorne. It just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I think that is a very good idea, though, to eventually animate Game of Thrones. I think that would actually get a lot of people to watch it as well. People like that, like, maybe had never watched Game of Thrones, but they're more into, like, animation style content. Maybe that would draw them in, and you could get popular in that market, I guess. So Lemongate moves on. I think that's fair. I think Lemongate's more popular than a lot of the Quaithe theories. And I think it's just more fun. I don't really care that much about the Quaithe theories, to be completely honest. But I don't know. You guys might have a differing opinion on that. All right, so we have Tyene was the one that kind of betrayed Arianne, and that's how Doran figures out that Arianne's gonna, you know, crown Myrcella and all that. Or Littlefinger started the Robert's Rebellion. I have a video on both of these. I would check those out if you want very much an explanation of these. But I think both of these are actually very fun theories. But yeah. Also, let me put this into perspective about drinking, since we're still kind of talking, or some of you guys are still talking about it. I just saw Evie's message and stuff. My friends also don't drink for the most part. Like, my best friend has never drank. He's 21. He doesn't drink, which I don't blame him. He also doesn't drink soda or anything. So I'm surrounded by a lot of people that don't really drink. Like, some of my friends do, but drinking's just not something that is normalized, I guess, around me. My parents don't really drink much. I won't say my family, because a good portion of my family actually does drink, but my close, like, immediate family, my mom and my dad, I've pretty much been brought up in not a very drinking, like, environment. And that kind of relates to my friends as well. So I'm kind of surrounded by a bunch of people that don't really drink. So it's kind of an influenced, I guess, how I've grown up and, like, looked at drinking. I don't know. That is hilarious, Casper. I would love to see that, honestly. It couldn't have been Dorne or Magisterium, but some place nearby, maybe? Do you remember the sunny grass field also? That's a good point, Metal. That would be really cool to have Dunk and Egg animated as well, and that's a really good idea. I don't drink that much. I drink on certain days of the year. My mom let me try alcohol when I was 16, so I would know if something was spiked when I went to parties. And well, that's cool. I see. I was never someone that went to parties in high school, and I wouldn't say I was invited that much to regardless, but when I did, I still never went to them. And I think a lot of that stems from one, I'd never really related to a lot of people in high school personally. Like, I felt like my high school was a lot of people that were just terrible to each other. Like, I don't know. So in my friend group as a whole, we don't really go to parties or anything like that. So I never had those experiences. Like, a lot of people talk about how in high school, you know, they had their first experiences with alcohol, drugs, whatever. That just wasn't me. Like, when I was in high school, my ideal like Saturday night or Friday night of fun would have been like having my friends over, like just playing video games till like 2 a.m. or hanging out with my friends just in my house, like a small like group of people. So I don't know. That's just how I feel like I was brought up. Maybe I don't know. Because also my mom, which I love my mom, but she's very like protective of me. Not, let me not say protective, but she's very like doesn't want me staying out till like 2 a.m. Like wants to know where I am and stuff like that. And she was very, or she still is. She's still very involved in my life. So she wouldn't have, especially when I was in high school, she wouldn't have let me do those things. Agreed, Water. I agree. I like Tying because I love Dorn's plot. Littlefinger is a good one too. I think these are both great theories. I literally could see why you would go with either one of these. I think Littlefinger's is more impactful if that was true and builds a lot more onto Littlefinger's character. Going back, but I don't know. I think Tying's a little bit. I think the Tying one is probably more true. I didn't go to a lot of parties either, but I think she wanted me to. Yeah, that's just a mom thing. They didn't want you to be, and it's different with you as a girl, Evie, or like. I think as a guy, you're supposed to kind of fend for yourself a bit more, but even then, my mom was very much still involved in my life. But so was my dad. I'm just talking about my mom a lot, but my dad's a lot more laid back. So my mom has the nickname Mama Bear in my hometown when she comes to her kids. Fair enough. That's a good thing to have, though, Evie. That's a good. I'd rather have a mom that like really cares about you than like not having a mom that, you know, like doesn't care about you. But yeah. And I wasn't really mentioning my dad because my dad was much more laid back about things like that. Like, he just was like, you know, don't be stupid and, you know, call us if you need something type of dad. Like, he wasn't someone that was like very like, you know, where are you going, this or that. He just, you know, he was kind of like more hands off where my mom was much more hands on, I guess. But I don't know. Okay, so we have a tie for Tying and Littlefinger as of right now. Parties are overrated for sure. Had my experience with them and definitely prefer just hanging out with like 4 or 5 friends, playing video games, watching videos, and drinking a lot. Yeah, fair enough. So like, for instance, I'll put it this way. When you guys think about New Year's Eve, right? When you guys were in high school, I don't know if this is different for people that, again, aren't in the U.S. because high school is kind of different in other countries. So high school for me was just my friends came over. And we would have basically like, for you guys that are more video game versed, be a LAN party basically. So like you'd have like 3 computer monitors in a room or TVs, and then you guys just play Call of Duty, this or that. That was my ideal like fun like stuff, or just watching, you know, movies, stuff like that. Whereas a lot of, and this is why I felt like very like different from a lot of people when I was growing up, where a lot of people were much different than that, where it was like, you know, you were going to parties with a bunch of people and getting, you know, drinking and stuff. And that really wasn't what I found as fun, I guess. I don't know. Which again, I don't have problems with you if you do that. That's just how I was kind of brought up, I guess. Hi Metal, or not Hi Metal. You've been in here all the time, but have a good one, Metal, and I hope you have a great day. Probably gonna wrap up the stream in about 10 minutes, so you stayed for pretty much the whole thing. But thank you for coming in. All right, you guys are leaving it to me. I'm going to have the Littlefinger Rebellion go. That will be the one I'm going to choose. We were just talking about our boy Euron and Dario, but we have Euron equals Dario, or there's going to be a grayscale plague. Now, you can take this 2 different ways. Shireen is burned, and a grayscale plague starts there, or John Con starts a grayscale plague. He doesn't really seem like he's taking the grayscale seriously, and could that possibly lead to an eventual plague in King's Landing or Westeros as a whole? But yeah, it is interesting. It's just interesting to see the way people are brought up differently, and yeah, I don't know. I think it's a very interesting idea where I think when I was much younger, I judged people a lot more than I should have, and I feel like I've learned through a lot of experiences, like especially after high school, that like I don't know, everybody's different. Everybody like was built on a different way of like coming up, I guess. My parents were super laid back. They let us pretty much do whatever we wanted and learn on our own, and told us to call if we ever got in trouble and needed a ride home with no. Yeah. So the water. I was just about to get to that. So one of my best friends, is very much like what you just described, where their parents were pretty laid back. Like, just if you're in trouble, let us know. Don't drive drunk, stuff like that, right? And they were more of a like, kind of a. I wouldn't say they were a party person, but they went to parties like way more frequently and stuff like that. And again, still great friends with them, even though we're different in the way we look at things. Agreed, Citra. I agree with you on that. But yeah, no, Water. I definitely see that as well. I see that as well. As long as your parents, I think what is important is as long as your parents actually care about you. Right? Like, there's nothing shittier in the world than when like you find someone that like their parents just didn't give a shit about them. Like, like I don't know. I think that's one of the worst things in the world is like if you are going to commit to having a child, like that should be a major focus in your life. I don't know. But I mean, my thing is like my family, because I'm an only child, right? And my family is kind of small. Like I know a lot of people have like huge families. I really had like multiple sets of parents almost, where my grandpa and my grandma were basically like another set of parents almost to me, where it was like my grandpa I was very close with. He had taught me a lot of like my morals, like a lot of things like that I think of now, and like some of my ideologies come from him. My grandma's the same way, but and even my aunt and my uncle. My aunt and my uncle much more laid back. But yeah, it's interesting when you think about that. And how like your parents like impact how you develop as a person. It's a very interesting idea. I mean, if look at we'll relate it to even to Song of Ice and Fire, right? If you look at like how Sansa is brought up compared to Arya, where Sansa is much more accepting of kind of the way she's taught, where she takes after Catelyn a ton, where Arya, because she is the younger daughter, and because she doesn't really fit in, she takes more of her father, Ned. She's much more of the more neglected one of the two. Like, if you really think about how that whole thing plays out, where Arya, to a degree, is bullied because she can't be what Sansa is. So, it is an interesting idea where even you look at, like, parenting in A Song of Ice and Fire, how things can work. Like, Robert not being a good father, even though he wasn't Joffrey's real father, impacts how Joffrey is as a person, where Joffrey is trying to make Robert proud or happy. Him lashing out is very much a result of neglect, almost. So it is interesting the way that all kind of works out. We went on a really deep like conversation there. We usually don't really get too deep in these streams. It's a lot of usually like, oh, we're just kidding around, things. But we got kind of deep in this stream. I like it. Maybe we need some of these like middle of the day streams more often. We got more of like the sober people in chat. But yeah, so I think this might be where we leave it. For the stream, we'll kind of continue and get rid of this next little part in the next stream. But I appreciate everybody that joined the stream. Violet, you caught the stream at the very end. I'm sorry about that. This was kind of a surprise stream. I didn't really plan on doing this stream earlier in the day, but things came up, and yeah. But thank you guys all for watching the stream. Thank you, Larry, for the super chat earlier. I appreciate that. I hope you guys all have a fantastic Thanksgiving. I probably won't see you guys live streaming until next Monday because Friday I'm not going to have a chance. I'm going to have work that day, and I have work all weekend, unfortunately. And then throughout the week, you got Thanksgiving and stuff. So thank you guys all for joining the stream. I will see you guys in the videos this week and also the live stream next.